Welcome to the Florida Homesteader Podcast, where we bring the pages of the magazine to life, sharing all the stories, the skills, and the spirit of homesteading across the Sunshine State. From backyard gardens to family farms and everything in between, we are here to inspire, encourage, and celebrate the Florida homesteading way of life. I'm Jamie Bateman, your host and editor-in-chief of the Florida Homesteader magazine, and we're so glad that you joined us today. So folks, go grab you some iced tea and let's jump into today's podcast chat. Good afternoon and welcome back to the Florida Homesteader Magazine podcast. My name is Jamie and I am your host, and today we are thrilled to have Nadine Wincapaw with us. If you have received your January-February copy of the Florida Homesteader, you're going to see Nadine's article in there, From Dream to Dirt. If you're watching us on YouTube, there it is right there, folks. And this is Nadine, and she is going to share with us today. This was really a neat conversation because it's all about what people don't tell you when you are starting a homestead and what to look for. And there's actually going to be a part 2 to this article in the March-April issue. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the magazine, you're going to want to get your subscription in so you can see these articles. So today's conversation, we're going to talk about this, but I don't know, Nadine, I think we need to let them maybe not get all of the juicy gossip or details. I mean, they have to refer back to the magazine for something, you know. So, but Nadine, welcome to our podcast chat. I'm very grateful to have you. So for those who don't know who Nadine is, why don't you share a little bit about you and what you're doing?
Well, my husband retired from the military about 5 years ago, and homesteading has been a lifelong dream. So we had to wait until his life was his own before we could actually jump on it. And we knew we wanted to stay in Florida. We knew we wanted better or more dramatic seasons than Tampa gave us. So we picked a climate zone and started looking for land, not realizing what kind of hoops you actually have to jump through when you buy raw land. So writing about buying raw land has been very therapeutic because of the frustration levels that you actually end up with from one thing to another. My background is in education. We homeschooled all 3 of our kids all the way through. And then I got an MBA and started working in the nonprofit sector. So just a completely polar opposite from what I was doing, education wise. And now I'm learning how to grow things, which up until about 2 years ago, I killed fake plants. So this is a very big thing for me to be able to actually grow something that's green.
It's very rewarding when you can keep something alive, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And, I figured I kept some children alive, so maybe I can do it with some green things.
Maybe. Well, obviously you're doing a good job.
Children are much easier than the
I have a feeling you're going to get some amens from people on that one.
I will say, as of right now, lavender has been my biggest the bane of my existence at this point. It's growing and growing, and then next thing you know, it's dead. And I'm like, I've been doing the exact same thing I've been doing the entire season. Why did you just die?
Well, if there's anyone listening that has any tips for growing lavender, now you are in the panhandle of Florida. So what zone are you in Florida?
We are in 8B. Bravo.
8B. Okay, so for anyone listening that has any gardening tips on how to grow lavender in Florida in zone 8B, please message us and let us know so we can get that to Nadine.
And it didn't matter whether it was the French variety or the English variety. Both of them did the same thing.
Both did the same thing. Now, I think I've tried growing lavender, and we're right on the verge of 9A, 9B where we are. So I've tried it. I need to try it again because, I only did it one time. I killed it. So I guess I need to try it again to see a different gardening approach to that. But I haven't had much luck. But I do know somebody who grew it in our zone. So I'll have to ask her what she did differently.
Yeah.
So So tell us a little bit about your homestead. You moved up north, you found your place.
I wanted a particular climate zone, and I found pretty much every plant that I wanted. There is a variety that will grow in the 8B climate zone. And my husband had his own separate list of things he wanted on his land. He wanted a water source, he wanted elevation, he wanted, I can't even remember all of his list, but this particular piece of property fit everything he wanted. It had no buildings on it. It had only ever had cattle on it. So it had been family land up until about maybe 30 years ago. When I say family land, I mean part of about 1,000-acre kind of ranch. So cattle were just left to go, and we're still finding barbed wire just kind of in the dirt.
Wow.
No particular reason, but there's not been anything that's actually ever been developed. It's been a tree property. They've harvested the pine tar or the pine resin, pine trees, oak trees, things like that as well. It's a beautiful piece of property with a stream running right through it. It's got 2 springs right on it. It's got some swampland, but the fact that it didn't have any buildings on it meant that we could not get any kind of traditional bank loans on it. So we had to get creative. And one of the nonprofits I work for, one of our donors happened to own a bank. I called him up and I said, look, I don't know if I'm overstepping or not. If I am, please tell me. But I'd rather give you the business if I can. And I want to buy this piece of property, but I need a loan. He was like, well, we don't loan for raw land, but hang on a second. And he hung up with me and he called the Farm Credit Bureau in our area. He interviewed the lady like he was giving her a job and made her call me. She calls me up. She goes, that was the strangest phone call I've ever had. But let me explain what I can do for you. And please go back to him and tell him what I did.
That's friends in high places right there.
I was like, wow, that was so nice of you.
So they were able to help you?
They were.
Okay.
And then in looking through that part of things, we found other outlets that could have helped us. We just went with the one that happened to hit us first.
Mm-hmm. And I know you talk about a little bit about that in the article, but just to give a little, I guess, teaser, you've got farm credit that's out there. What other revenue or source did you find that was helpful for raw land purchases?
There's the USDA loans and grants that are out there, but you're dealing with the government, so you're dealing with what funding might be available. There's a whole bunch of, restrictions and verification, things along those lines that you have to actually go through. And then there's other veterans programs. Again, you have to be a veteran to be able to qualify for those, but those are very readily available. And believe it or not, there's the programs that are looking to have veterans become farmers are growing.
Nice. Okay. So you found your property, you had the loan, or you found a revenue source to help you purchase the land. What was your next step?
Our next step, in between all of that stuff, we actually had to find a realtor who could actually process the paperwork for us, because again, we were not dealing with a traditional house. We needed a specialized kind of title search and somebody who could split the land, because we were actually taking some acreage away from a larger piece of property. So there was whole nother section of things that don't normally happen when you're just buying a little lot in a subdivision with a nice, cute little house on it. We had to have a flagpole drive actually brought into it, or we would have never had access to any road, because it's not landlocked. I don't know what you would call that, but there was no access to any of the roads. So you have to actually be very specific with a survey company. And a survey company, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to traipse through the woods putting down markers everywhere. You have to tell them exactly what you want, and you're going to pay for it, especially if you're going to be dealing with large acreage like that.
So your property, for one, was not road access. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you had to split your property off of another piece of property.
Yes.
So was the property that you were looking for, obviously it was for sale, but were they selling it in increments? Is that why you had to go through that way?
Yes, they were actually trying to be on the other side of a stream, but we didn't want only the other side of the stream because you can't access it unless you put in a bridge yet. So we wanted some land on basically on this side of the stream. Then we also wanted some road access.
Okay. All right. So you had to get all of that to be included into the purchase of what you were trying to accomplish.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
You need a realtor who knows what they're talking about and understands what it means to deal with a surveyor who understands, that the title search on a piece of land is a lot different than searching out a home, things along those lines. It was interesting, and 3 surveys later we learned exactly how to talk to a surveyor.
Right.
You're talking $5,000 easy for a surveyor on 50 acres.
Yeah. Is that what you ended up with, was 50 acres?
We have 53. Yes.
Yeah, 53. Okay. And how hard was it to find that realtor to help you?
Being in Tampa, it actually was a lot more difficult than it probably should have been. Had we been in a more rural location, it probably would have been a lot simpler. But we were living in Tampa trying to buy land in a whole nother area.
Okay. Got it. So not knowing, for those agents, not knowing the territory that you were referring to, I can understand why that would be difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. So in your article, you talk about these things that they don't tell you when it comes to homesteading or when it comes to buying land for your homestead or for your farm. Obviously, you shared a little bit about what your struggles were. What were some of the other revelations that you had coming out of this that you feel could be beneficial for folks to really listen or to be able to adapt and utilize for those that are out there listening on how do we do this? What do we do?
I think there's a couple things. First is you really need to look at your county regulations because there are counties in Florida that have actually minimum square footage restrictions on your housing. So if you wanted to live even in an RV or a tiny house or any of those things, you can't do it. People think, oh, well, it's my property, it shouldn't matter. Well, that's true, but the county commissioners have decided that that's not how that's going to work. You also
Huh.
need to understand that if you're going to live off grid, your county rules and regulations are going to dictate whether you have to be hooked up or not. You can, in the state of Florida, have solar panels, but in some counties, you still have to be hooked up to whatever power company and pay. Usually it's like a $25 fee, no matter whether you use that power or not.
Mm-hmm. And septic, I'm sure septic, that's a
Septic
big
is
deal.
some counties are trying to move away from that and get you completely hooked up to the city. And up in the panhandle here, especially where we are very, very rural. So there's just no way they're going to ever get to the point of forcing people to hook up to the sewer, at least not in the next 50 years, just because it's
Yeah.
just not available.
Yeah.
However, there are places that I've heard where it doesn't matter, you will hook up to sewer
Wow.
and wells, things along those lines. But what I was completely unprepared for was the cost of equipment and
For putting in the sewer or the septic
just
or
everything. It seemed like every time I turned around, my husband was telling me we needed $5,000 for something,
yeah.
whether it was the chainsaws, the generators, the T-posts, wood for this, concrete blocks for that. I'm
Fencing
like,
in general.
yes, everything. I remember we were driving one time, and this was way before we were even ready for any equipment. And he was talking about all these different pieces of equipment he needed. And I said, well, don't they make attachments? And so you can buy like one piece of equipment and then a whole bunch of attachments that can go to it. He goes, well, they do. I'm like, why don't you get one of those? He goes, oh, yeah, that's easy. That's $100 and something thousand.
That's where you
Oh,
call that bank friend up again.
right. Oh, I didn't I just had no clue. I mean, for me, I'm from Connecticut, my meat came from the store. It did not come from farmers,
Mm-hmm.
and I have since grown up from there. My husband's a hunter, and I do get it, but
Uh-huh.
my knowledge base when it came to farms was very, very minimal, and
Yeah.
it's been an interesting education.
So this experience has really taken you to not just the next level, it has taken you beyond the next level and what you now know, the processes of what it takes in order to buying that piece
Oh
of land that
yes,
you're looking for. Yeah.
yes.
So know the property, know your realtor, make sure your realtor knows what you're looking to do.
Mm-hmm.
Understand the way the surveying work, know your county's regulations, policies that they have set in place,
Yep.
know your budget.
Know your budget.
Yeah, know your budget because it's going to be a lot considering what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. And find yourself a good mechanic,
Yeah.
somebody who's very reliable, and
Uh-huh.
preferably somebody who can come to you.
Yeah. If you can't do it yourself, absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but with this though, you were taking a little bit at a time in order to accomplish this, or were you kind of a fast paced, we have to get this done because you're moving from Tampa to the Panhandle? Or was there, in other words, were you able to stay in Tampa for a while you did all this up there, or did you make that transition move and then you were working on it?
My husband actually got an internship at a regenerative farm so he could learn how it all goes. And while he was doing that, we sold the condo in Tampa and I moved up here. We rented a place nearby. And
Okay.
when he was done with his internship, we just started very slowly.
Okay. Hey, y'all, we're going to take a really quick break just to recognize one of our partners. Now, whether you're planting roots or planning what's next, having that right financial partner really makes a difference. And if you're looking to open a new free checking account, you want to build your savings, buy that dream car, or invest in a home or property, well, Mid-Florida Credit Union is here to help. With local branches, personalized service, and a commitment to the communities that they serve, Mid-Florida makes banking simple and approachable for every season of life. Learn more or get started today at midflorida.com. Mid-Florida Credit Union, Florida's community credit union. Now back to our show. Slow and steady.
Very long flagpole drive. It took us nearly a year because we had no equipment at the time. It took nearly a year to take down all the trees, level it out, put the culverts in, get the gravel, and get it ready for heavy equipment to go down, because we are going to be having, eventually concrete trucks and, the delivery trucks and things like that go down. And I can't have them get stuck.
Mm-mm. No, not at all. So I think that is one of the most important pieces that we have shared multiple times with other folks that we have chatted with is don't try to rush into this way of living thinking that, okay, I bought the farm, now what kind of concept. It sometimes does take time to get to where you want to be and the goals that you are trying to accomplish. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're finding joy in the journey by building this lifestyle that you have dreamed about building and that you now have the opportunity to do. And I think sometimes, especially now, I've said this and I might get trademarked on this one, but I don't know. I always say there's the mindset of a Burger King philosophy. I want it my way and I want it now. And there's situations like this that doesn't always happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be completely different if we bought something that was already established. It would just come with its own different set of problems and different budget and different things that you would have to, start with. But yes, starting slow, starting one little, eat the elephant one bite at a time kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah, your background has the rainbow. There's always a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's just the rainbow comes through the storm. So, how long have you been at this?
2 years.
2 years, and if it took a year to do your driveway entrance, how far are you into your project now?
We have we have trees that are coming down now we have two non-flood zones, little nuggets basically on our property that we are getting to so we can figure out which one we want to build the barn on.
Okay. That's exciting. So the barn will be your first project?
It'll be the first big project, and we will eventually put an apartment in there so we can live at the top.
Okay.
Till we can get the bridge built, because we're living on the other side of the stream.
Okay. Is that where your rental is at?
No, we're just 2 doors down from the property where we're renting.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Perfect. What is your time frame? Did you, because that's another important kind of idea, is to give yourself grace, but give yourself a time frame too.
If it was going by my time frame, the barn would have already been built, but but equipment and money, those types of things keep getting in the way.
Ah, darn obstacles, I tell you.
Yeah.
See, that I'm laughing with you because I could totally hear my husband. If it's Jamie's time frame, we're going to be boom, 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 boom. But what I don't take into account when we're doing a project is like what you just said, all of these things that come up, or things that happen that you just don't take into account for.
Yeah.
So I have learned to sit back and begrudgingly go along with his timeline, even though I don't agree with it. I want it to be my timeline.
The thing is I work from home, but I still work. So it's got to really be his timeline, because he's really doing the farm work.
He's doing it. Now, were you able to get everything fenced in? You got that part accomplished, or nope, just that driveway and the clearing out? That's a lot of property though.
Yes.
That's a big job.
We bought 3 goats to help with clearing the brush, to actually, because they're better than bush hogs. Except for the fact that we were not prepared for buying 3 miniature goats that had been pets. Then they like pellets. They don't like brush. And I'm thinking, my thought is, they're goats. They're going to eat anything anyway. No, they won't.
So not only knowing your property, knowing what you're buying, know your animals too.
Yes. Yeah. Although the chickens have turned out to be a blessing. They're really fun. They keep the bugs down, and they have eggs like coming out our ears. But
oh, that's funny. Now, okay, let's talk about your goats though, because we are a goat family. We don't have the little ones. We have the boar goats. And fencing for us, it's never ending. There's always fencing to be prepared, or put up new fencing or something. There's always something going on. How are you keeping those 3 goats contained?
we have an electric fence, and he has a chain on them. They have harnesses and a chain.
Okay. All right. That works. That we've attempted to do the electric fencing, but we haven't succeeded in that just yet. It's like we have all the equipment, but we just haven't put it up yet.
Yeah,
we're one of those.
Because they're small enough, it does contain them. Although one of them, every time my husband goes near by the place, he tries to get out and go follow my husband. He's like his little shadow.
It's a pet.
Yeah.
Definitely like
he
a
thinks
little
he
pet.
is.
Yeah. So in going back to your article that you shared with us, your husband was in the military.
Yes.
And you even mentioned some opportunities of additional funding or revenue or options for veterans. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, through the USDA, there is a veterans program. And then through the University of Florida, there's a veterans program. And then there's another one. It's out of Texas. It's like Farmers Veterans Coalition or something along those lines. I apologize. I should have had the name right there.
Okay.
But
That's okay.
They have classes. They help you with your taxes. They also have some funding availability. From what I have been told, in the Army itself has some offices that help with transition out of the military, and there are people that will come in and talk to you about becoming a farmer after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be people that actually are available with that through that office.
Mm-hmm. And it helps with securing this type of what y'all are doing.
Yes, there's funding, there's education, there's internships, there a tax preparation, things along those lines.
Nice. Now, you shared a little bit about you saying that you're from Connecticut. You thought in sharing on your thought process with farming and what that looked like. How about your husband? I know you said he was in the military for many years, and please extend our appreciation to him for his years of service. Did he have any experience in farming?
No, he's from Illinois, outside of Chicago. As far as farming, no, he's a hunter.
Mm-hmm. So this is all new for him too.
Yes,
In a way.
He did 24 years in the military.
Nice. Wow. You mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that he has done an internship on farming, or what was it again?
Regenerative farming.
He did it on regenerative farming. Can you speak a little bit about that and what that entails? Is he still going through that, or is he?
No, it was 6 months, and he went to a farm in Georgia where he learned how to process animals, as well as how to rotate them through the grass-fed animals, get them through the pastures, do health checks, things along those lines too. And he lived up at the farm, was basically immersed in the whole process.
What a neat idea to do that. I didn't realize that there was farms out there that would do that. I guess I should have known that there were, but that's a very neat concept to do, and it helps the farmers, but it also helps those that are wanting to learn it because you're learning it firsthand.
Definitely. Definitely. And it was a valuable experience. Well, the farm that he was at was massive. So we learned basically what we wanted, what we didn't want. We learned we really don't want to be farming with goats. We didn't want to deal with pigs a lot. We definitely don't want the massive herd. They have so many animals. But we learned what type of sheep we wanted, that type of thing.
So talking about sheep, are you looking for the meat sheep, or are you looking for the dairy sheep?
Meat.
Meat? Okay.
Yes. I might milk just for maybe a little, basically steal a little bit of milk when they've dropped a baby, but not to keep it in milk or any of that stuff. I just want to try a couple things and move on.
Yeah, see how it works.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a neat follow-up to see how y'all are doing with that. Sheep has definitely, I've seen it come on the radar more and more in our state. Between those that are showing them in the fairs, there's a lot of counties across the state that are allowing sheep in, and these kids are showing them to the ones who are raising them for meat production. They're raising them for wool. They're for dairy. There's a lot of, I know a few folks in the state of Florida who are raising on 1 acre, who are raising dairy sheep and doing amazing things with that. The soaps. In fact, we were gifted some of the soap that they made, and it's the best shampoo I've ever had. It's great. Yeah. So you get to that stage, and I think you're going to enjoy it more. It'll be neat. So are some of the things that he learned at this regenerative farm, now that with your chickens and your goats, I'm sure he's starting to apply that and teaching you also on what to do, sharing those tidbits with you. That's a good learning experience.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I wish more farms were able to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would be good if they could. So what is next for y'all?
Keep working towards getting that barn built.
Yeah, that's on the horizon.
Once we can get trees down and we can get a lay of the land, we can start making more plans of like where the orchard is going to go, where pastures are going to go. We have to stay away from the wetlands, obviously. And
yeah.
I would like to put a little cabin near the spring. We need to put a bridge over the stream. We want to build, for lack of better words, a clubhouse type of thing on the other side of the stream. And then if other people, like our kids, want to come in and live with us, they would then just build a bedroom that would be nearby.
Almost like a family compound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we could do that where we're at. I think that would be, I don't know if my kids would enjoy it. I would enjoy it.
The only thing I told them is you need to have your own laundry because I'm not putting the laundry. I don't want to do your laundry, and I don't want you basically keeping your laundry in the main house and then forgetting it
Yeah.
and I need to do laundry. That's just not going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Well, Nadine, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us and telling us your story and your journey. Like I said, this is in our January, February issue of the Florida Homesteader Magazine Part 1. Part 2 is coming out in just a few weeks. So you could be watching your mailboxes at the end of February. It should be hitting. Just a reiteration that you are obviously enjoying what you're doing. It's just learning as you go and taking one day at a time and just making your progress the way, and at some point eventually obtaining that goal that y'all have. It's that dream of having that property completed. And although I don't know that you'll ever be completed, but
Guaranteed.
But we do appreciate you sharing all of this with us, and we'll be excited to see part 2 in the magazine coming out. And I would love to touch base with you again just to see how y'all's progress is coming.
Sure.
And I do appreciate you sharing your story, because there's a lot of folks that come on and they share where they're at and they've already got everything established, but you are in the process of getting it established. And I think your message was so clear and so important for many folks to say. It's, in the midst of it all, hang in there. You got this. It's going to take time, but you can get to it.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, we will be in touch, and we'll look forward to sharing more of your story soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That's what homesteading in Florida means, and that's the story that we're proud to share in the Florida Homesteader. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, share this episode with a friend, leave us a rating, and check out our magazine, the blog, and our YouTube channel for even more Florida homestead inspiration. Until next time, keep growing, keep preserving, and keep the homesteading spirit alive. Y'all come back now.